Hey guys, so today I wanted to show you how to propagate your tomato plant.
So the first thing that you need to know about propagating your tomato plant is start with the basics. So you've probably heard me say sucker before, and hopefully if you have tomato plants, you know what that is. It's these little things that grow in the armpit of your tomato plant. Oopsie, like so. What you're gonna wanna do is just come in and pinch it off, just like that. Now, if I weren't to take off this sucker, this would produce another stem on my tomato plant. So here you can see I have two big stems, one here, one back here. That's a sucker that got away from me. It just got big. The idea is that you want to only have one stem growing up your tomato plant, because if you have two, it can get too heavy and can cause more chance for rot and less airflow to filter through your plant. So you want to stay on top of these suckers, but they're not a total waste. If they're big enough, like this guy who has two leaves, you can propagate it to make another plant. What you're going to want to do is get a little jar just like this, any cup will work, and some nice distilled water. Having a cat to help monitor the situation also helps. I'm just going to fill this bad boy up with some water right to the tippy top. And voila, dunk it right in like that. To use distilled water, all I use is just tap water, and I run it through my Brita filter that I usually drink out of, and I just put it into jugs and fill it up over time. And I just keep refilling the jugs and then put it into my watering can like so. It's a bit of a tedious process, but I notice the difference of using distilled water. I find my plants don't get brown tips because the fluoride in the water is just a bit harsh for them. I set mine up in the windowsill right here so it can get lots of sunlight, but also not too harsh of conditions, no wind, stuff like that. In about 2 weeks, you'll end up with something like this. Little roots growing. Whoops! Happy little guy. After you have roots growing, you're going to want to put it in a little pot. I use peat pods. I find they're really useful. You can plant them directly into the soil and just put soil on top, and this will just decompose with the rest of the ground, and there you go. I'm going to wait until this one gets a little more mature, and then I'm going to plant it out in the soil, so I'll have 2 harvests of tomato plants, hopefully. Propagating your suckers is a great idea in case something happens to your tomato plants outside and you want to make sure you can still have a harvest. This way you have a little backup stock of the exact same plants you were growing. You could also do this in case some of your friends don't have tomato plants and see your beautiful garden growing, or like, oh, I want to do tomato plants. Well, here you go. You can give them something like this and they can plant it right into their garden. I typically would like to wait until they're about this size before I plant it in the garden. And what you're going to want to do is plant it right up to the tippy top of the bottom of the newest leaf, because all these little hairs on here, they produce roots. So you're ensuring more roots. Thanks for watching. This is Hippie Kid Plants. Happy gardening.